I was in January, I felt like God was kind of speaking to me, whispering, "You're not thinking big enough." Mm-hmm. And that scared me a little bit. And I argued with God. And I know you guys are also spiritual. You've never argued with God, but I was pushing back and saying, "God, come on, we're already out over our skis. We're already running pretty hard." And literally for about 5 months, it was an ongoing conversation I had where I just felt internally like God was saying, "You're not thinking big enough." And about in May, I came to the realization that, you know what? It's stupid to argue with God. Number one, you never win. Number two, there's no peace when you're arguing with God. But the third one is I recognize that the only reason we're seeing the success that we are is because of God's blessing and his hand in his favor. And so it would be stupid for me to even say we can, in our power, in my power, duplicate what we did last year, if it's this big. So what risk is it to say, "God, if you want us to think this big, I'll do it, because I can't do this much. Therefore, if you're going to do this, we're going to give you glory if you're going to do it." So what I did is over the next 3 to 4 months, just prayerfully and really kind of just asking the Lord what he was wanting us to believe for. We built a plan that makes no sense. Literally, it makes no sense. We saw 192,000 people, 506 people come to faith last year. We have a plan in place to see 600% growth next year. Makes no sense. It's crazy. It's stupid. But we laid it before the Lord and said, "God, out of obedience, we believe that you want us to build this plan, and we can't do anything about it. But God, if you move in such a way, we'll see it happen." The moment that we laid it out, we started to see God bring some people, some organizations, some partnerships around. And we really believe we have a decent shot of seeing 1.2 million people come to Christ this year, mm-hmm. primarily in the U.S. And it's not just a shot in the dark. It's not just a random number that we grabbed off of a board. It really is a program that we've built and believe that we can get there based on coaching, marketing, and revenue. And so, but there's some really exciting things that are going on with that. Let me share this with you. This is this diagram right here kind of diagrams what we're planning to do and why it's actually going to be more effective and efficient moving forward than anything we've done. On this side of the spectrum, Groundwire is running after 1.2 million people with marketing campaigns and all those things. And we are saying on this side, hey, we believe that we can see that many people not just get to a website, but actually raise their hand and say, "I need a relationship with Jesus." But to Steve's point, we want to be holistic in the ministry. We want to not only bring them to a place where they're considering and responding to the claims of Christ and beginning their journey, but we want to see them succeed. And to be very honest, I know that my gifting and our calling as an organization is 80% evangelistic and, a smaller percentage on the discipleship piece. I have been praying for years that God would raise up someone, an organization that figures this out and does it well, so that we can work with them to reach the lost and then to plug them into churches. When we laid this plan, 1.2 million people down before the Lord and said, "God, what are you going to do?" He started to bring some of those organizations. So on this side, there's two primary organizations that we're working with. One is called GLOO, GLOO. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but they were started by the man who started Einstein Bagels and Ancestry.com. Guy's had a lot of success in his career, actually to the point where when I first met him and I was hearing what he did, I said, "Have you ever failed?" Because, his resume is so robust. And of course, he said he had, but he didn't share those with me. But what happened is we got to talking. His goal as an organization, they're a for-profit organization, not a nonprofit, but their goal as an organization is to unleash the collective might of the local church. And so they're working with churches all over the nation to basically help people that need church connections to find them. but they specialize really in people who already prioritize. I know that church is important. I haven't been for a while, helping them find those churches. What we do uniquely is we're going after people who they're not already convinced that the church is important, but they have 30,000 churches. Here's one of the exciting things. We did a test with them in Kansas City in September. We did a 6-week test with them. The first 2 weeks, everybody who came to faith, we came to them and said, hey, you're not supposed to do this alone. There are people who want to come alongside you, encourage you, help you in this new journey that you're on. And 59% of the people who made a profession of faith in Kansas City in the first 2 weeks, 59% said, I would like a church to contact me. Huge number. It actually is almost an unbelievable number. It actually dropped. The last 4 weeks, it dropped to 31%, which is actually a number that I can kind of believe. But anyway, what that means is that Glue is getting ready to launch nationally in March, and we're ready to run with them. We're going to take the people that are coming to faith, and we're going to make the handoff to Glue, to their churches, and say, that they're training up. Now, Steiger is the other organization. One of the challenges on this side of the spectrum is that the average church doesn't understand youth culture. And they haven't really, many of them haven't tried. And I'm not saying that you minimize the message or you soften it or you water it down. I'm just saying understanding the way that they process and the way that they think about spiritual things. Steiger is an organization that does a fantastic job of training Christians how to understand secular culture, not so they can be a part of it, but so they can call people out of it. So Steiger and Glue are working together to train these churches so that the goal is on this side, 1.2 million people come to faith. Their goal this year is 1.2 million Christians trained and ready to meet people in the middle. We're not saying to 1.2 million people, go to church. We're saying there's somebody who loves Jesus who wants to walk with you through this first season of your new faith. And so it's a really exciting thing, because once we get them here, we make the handoff, we can move them towards discipleship and church integration. And so, man, that it's going to be phenomenal. There's one other thing that I'm really excited about too. There's an organization that has done measurement on discipleship, evangelism activity. And I've seen their dashboards that they've done it overseas, but they've never done it in the US. But they've measured on the 2-month, 6-month, and 12-month mark of somebody coming to faith. They measure how many people got baptized, how many people are reading the Bible at least twice a week, how many people are going to church at least once a month. So they came to me and said, we want to get started in the US. We need your funnel. So we're bringing them into this equation too, to move them in that direction. So lots of exciting things. Not only is this number going to grow significantly, but this is going to help us really move people into these discipleship activities so that we can really see some significant